It's been a full year since the Nintendo Switch 2 launched. We are now in August, and boy, is this console everything we could have dreamed of so far. Let me tell you, it got off to a rocky start. Everyone knows about that, but in this video, I am here to tell you right here, right now, why this Nintendo Switch 2 console is worth buying. Why you should go out and buy it right now. Well, the latest reason to buy the Nintendo Switch 2, the reason that you have got to go to the stores and buy this thing, is Splatoon Raiders. That came out of absolutely nowhere for me personally, and for a lot of other people in the gaming sphere. Everyone knows Splatoon is a fantastic series, but I think a lot of criticisms have come with these series has been based around the multiplayer aspect of it. Yes, it's amazing, but so many times, especially if you get really good at the game and then come back to it later, you'll find that, yeah, there's a lot of competitive players online right now that are kicking my butt, and if you are gone for any extended amount of time, you're gonna come back and not even be able to play it without getting upset, without losing every single game. And some people don't even have the skills to be able to get up there in the first place, so they're just constantly losing and never fully experiencing what Splatoon has to offer. This game is single player focused, one of the only single player focused games on the Nintendo Switch 2 right now in terms of exclusives that you can go out and buy and have an amazing time with. They basically took the multiplayer aspect of Splatoon completely out of it, and they totally went in on the campaign part of it, on the DLC part of it. Octo Expansion, you can see a lot of DNA in here. Of course, from Salmon Run, you can see tons of DNA from that. I even see a little bit of side order DNA in this. They took everything from all of those different single player focused experiences and they made it even better. They gave you a mechanic in which you are totally consumed with. And I mean that in two different ways. One, the mechanic of you play as a mechanic. You play as the mechanic of the ship that took Deep Cut out to this island to get treasure. The second thing I mean by mechanic is the game's mechanics themselves. The gadget system makes this game better than any other Splatoon game I've played in terms of the single player content. It's going to be really difficult to go back to Splatoon 3 after this game. I'm telling you, Splatoon 4 has got to really change itself up for that game to be seen in a light similar to this. I mean, Splatoon Raiders at the time of this recording has a 9.3 user rating on Metacritic, one of the highest of all time. It is Nintendo's highest user rating Metacritic score ever of all of their games, of all the greatest and best. Ocarina of Time, Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, their GOAT games cannot even compare to this game's user score. Splatoon Raiders is that game. It is the reason to buy a Switch 2. If you were looking for a single player experience with action heavy combat, able to get yourself submersed in a world with a really good story, this game is for you. And I will probably have a review about it, talking more in depth about all of this game's mechanics and everything about it, everything why you should buy, every reason why you should buy. But just suffice to say, Splatoon's gameplay is incredible. If it had never clicked with you before, I highly recommend trying this out. Or if the concept has always been so cool to you but you could never fully get into it, this is your starting point. This game is gorgeous and it is amazing. Then you have to go back another month as to why the Switch 2 is worth it, why you should buy Star Fox. Freaking Star Fox, back from the dead. The Star Fox 64 game has been remade 4 times now. This is the 4th remake of Star Fox 64, and it's better than ever. This is the best Star Fox game out there. First of all, the graphics. I mean, that is where I have to start. This game's graphics are gorgeous. I have a full review of this game up on the channel, but I'm going to give you a little bit of the cliff notes here, starting off with the graphics. The water in this game, the lava in this game, all of the environments, the ships themselves, even down to the character designs that were so criticized within the opening weeks of this game's reveal. Everyone was like, oh my goodness, this is so odd. What is going on? Why are they so realistic? The world looks amazing. This is the direction I think a lot of their series should head. The world around them is still animated. It is still stylistic, but it's very realistic in that stylistic sense. Star Fox is obviously still a cartoon character. He's not real, but he does look more like a fox than ever. The environments around him look more realistic than ever. Now, I'm not one to say that graphics should sell an entire game, and I would not be saying that if this game didn't have some of the most absurdly addicting gameplay you will ever experience. Star Fox has a rail shooting system in which you are going linearly through stage by stage. The camera is just taking you where it will. You don't have control over which direction you head. You only have control of where inside your box you are able to steer the R-Wing or the submarine or the Landmaster. You're using your weaponry to fight off all of Andross's weapons and his enemies, and you will help so many different people on so many different paths. This game is so unique. This game is a reason to buy the Nintendo Switch 2 because As far as I know, this genre is pretty much dead and dusted at this point. Star Fox on the Switch 2 is another incredible reason to buy. Those are two of the most recent games. Now I want to talk more about the hardware itself. Why is the Nintendo Switch 2 so incredible for people who maybe already have other consoles? Why should you buy if you have a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox or heck, even a PC? Well, if you have any of the above, you're probably content with that console in terms of AAA games, third-party games, and even some first-party offerings from those places. Outside of the exclusives that the Switch 2 offers you that no other console does, no other PC will let you play, the Switch 2 has something that none of these other consoles have: power on the go. Now you're probably sitting there like, duh, this is obvious. This is one of the biggest selling points of the Nintendo Switch and the Switch 2. But I don't think you fully understand, if you've not bought this console, and even if you have and haven't had the right games, how powerful this thing actually is. What you're watching on the screen right now is footage from Resident Evil Requiem running on this console in handheld mode. And the game looks just as good as its counterparts. Sure, there are some sacrifices that had to be made here and there. The graphics are not 100% the same or as effective as you will find on a PlayStation 5 Pro or an Xbox Series X or a high-end PC. What you will find with the Switch 2 version here is portability on the go, convenience on the go, the ability to have this anywhere you want. And guess what? Even if you only use it on the go like 5 times, 10 times, 20 times a year, that's 10, 5, 20 more times than you could have ever expected to play this game away from your TV. It's just more options. It gives you more chances to play your games where you want, how you want. That was a massive selling point for the original Switch. It was a really, really novel experience for so many people to have home console games on the go. And for the Switch 2, I think that's been lost. Like, yes, it is still portable. People still play it exclusively in handheld, and some people still play it exclusively in docked mode on the TV. But so many people have just glossed over that fact, and I'm here to tell you, don't do that. If you are a third-party fan, if you are a first-party interest in Nintendo games, you have to get a Switch 2. There are no other handhelds out there that compare to this console in terms of the sleekness of design, in terms of the ease of portability, and how many different experiences you can play. There's really not a lot of difference between the Switch 2 and a Steam Deck. There's really not a lot of difference between an Iron Thor and a Switch 2. Like, there is a really short gap between those things, and the Switch 2 is easy. It's accessible. You buy it and you put in a game or you download a game and you're ready to go. The Switch 2's portability cannot be overstated, especially with considering how powerful it is. It's playing all these third-party games at very, very reasonable graphical fidelities, marks that's hitting all of those in stride, and you can even play all of the old Switch games in higher resolutions, especially with Switch 2 editions, and that's the next reason you have got to buy a Switch 2. If you're watching this video, you're probably a Nintendo fan. You've probably had a Nintendo Switch. You probably played Breath of the Wild or Animal Crossing or Mario Kart. You have access to all of those Switch 1 games, but guess what? They all run better on the Switch 2. Even down to the most minute of details that really bugged a lot of people on the Switch 1, little loading details, little aspects of those games are mostly cleaned up by the raw power of the Switch 2. Something like Smash Bros. Ultimate, for example. In the past, when you were trying to get different costumes, you were not able to do that without it glitching half the time, and you couldn't even see your costume until it loaded in about 20 seconds later, and by then all your friends are screaming at you, hurry up, pick a character, it's time to play. Guess what? By the raw power of the Switch 2, you don't have to worry about that anymore. It is gone, completely and totally gone. You can pick your costumes in seconds. It's already all loaded in, and that is a lot of costumes that it has to process. So many different games retroactively are already better, but there are also updates that they gave us for free, completely and totally free. Super Mario Odyssey is the 3D game of the decade, of the past couple decades, for the Nintendo Switch. For the Switch 2 now, you get to play that game up-resed for free. You can update that game, you can download it, and it will play and run even better than it did on the Switch 1. You're going to get up to 4K, you're going to get up to 60 frames per second. This game is going to load faster, and you can have even better times with this game and the way it plays, and you're going to be able to get in and out faster. There are so many other games that already did that as well. On the screen is a chart of some of them, and there are even more that had come since then, but Scarlet and Violet are some big ones. Echoes of Wisdom, Link's Awakening, some other games that really struggled on the Switch got some free updates. Now, a lot of these next ones are a little bit hit or miss, but Nintendo Switch 2 Edition games are also another big reason to buy, even if you were a Switch owner, even if you still are a Switch owner. Games like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are completely renewed on the Nintendo Switch 2. I'm telling you, it makes a massive difference to run in 4K 60 FPS. Playing these massive worlds with such short loading times, I'm telling you, it makes all the difference. I was able to replay both of these games in probably 10 less hours than I would have on the Switch because of the convenience of those loading times, because of the convenience of the Switch 2, making me less likely to want to only play in docked mode because of the graphics. Sometimes when I was playing my Switch, or now with my Switch 2, even though it's less with the Switch 2, I will say to myself, I would rather literally wait longer to be able to get a better, more full experience on the TV, because I just know the dock is going to get so much more out of my console. But now with the Switch 2, and especially with Breath and Tears, I am totally content playing in handheld mode on the go, anywhere, anytime, because it is so much easier to forgive 30 FPS locked, or even just 60 FPS locked and full HD, rather than 720p and 30 FPS that stutters. Gone are the days of walking into Korok Forest and everything around you seems like it's about to fall apart and your game might even crash sometimes. Other Switch 2 editions include Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2, and 3. You can get those digitally. 3 is still on the way, but by the time this video is out, 2 just came out, and I highly recommend you go buy 2. I made another video about that. You can go see that if you want. But Switch 2 editions have had such a great life on the Switch 2. Mario Party Jamboree is one I'd stay away from. That game was not great, but including other Switch 2 editions, a few that just came out earlier this year, Animal Crossing New Horizons. It's a $5 upgrade. If you already have that game on the Switch 1, all you gotta do is pay $5 to get some new content, stuff that is exclusive to the Switch 2, like mouse functionality to help move around your apartment and all of your different furniture, and the graphics are way better. Loading times are also cut down, as one might expect. The best of the cream of the crop, the tippity top of Switch 2 editions is Super Mario Bros. Wonder. This game was already amazing on the Switch. It made it even better on the Switch 2. They added in the Koopalings again, and I know if you're a Nintendo veteran, you might still be sick of hearing about the Koopalings, but they've been gone for a decade now, and they are so welcome back into this game because each and every one of them have incredible boss fights. Koopalings are so back. You get a bunch of new content that you can play multiplayer, there's all sorts of stuff, and of course, the original game looks better than ever. So we talked about the console itself, a few of the first-party games. Now I want to talk even more about those first-party games. Let's kind of rapid fire through these, a few minutes each. I want to spend some time on Pokemon Pocopia. It's already been like, what, 5 months since this game came out? I feel like I don't see as many people talking about it at all, which doesn't necessarily take away from the cultural phenomena it was, but guess what? It is still elite. It is still the best Switch 2 game that many people will ever get. Imagine a world where Animal Crossing kind of connects with Dragon Quest Builders, but with Pokemon. There's Pokemon. You play as a Ditto, and you are able to basically take all these abilities from all these different Pokemon, and you can craft the world however you want it. You go through a very cute story with a great ending, and you're able to basically turn the world into whatever you want. And guess what? There's DLC on the way. By the time this video comes out, it'll either be a few days or have already been a few days since the first wave of DLC drops for this game, and you can go underwater now. Pokemon Pocopia had so many different things that made Animal Crossing feel like you were in chains, and now you're even more free to explore and craft this world however you want. It's kind of like Pokemon Minecraft in some ways. The crafting system is incredible. This world is so fun to explore, and you will sink hundreds and hundreds of hours if you let yourself into this game. For a while, it was highly rated. It was probably the second highest rating game of the year. It was right up there in terms of the overall review score, next to Resident Evil Requiem, which is also on the Switch 2, like I talked about. Pokemon Pocopia is a must-buy. Earlier this year, we also got a couple other games I want to put on your radar. Mario Tennis Fever is the first one you need to think about. They just dropped an update for this game in which you can play as Mario from Mario Galaxy. They gave us some Mario Galaxy themed rackets to where you can have a black hole on the course itself. Mario looks great. This game is super fun. I don't think it's worth the $70 price tag just yet. Not right now. Maybe they'll add more to make it even more worth it. It was worth the price for me as a huge fan of the series, but if you're not a fan of that tennis gameplay, or if you've never had it before, I would definitely recommend around the holiday time period in a couple months, you go check that game out on sale. It's not for everybody, but it is something I want to put on your radar. Another one that might not be for everyone, but is a really cute and cozy game that is honestly for all ages, even though it may look like it's for a younger audience. Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. Yoshi and the Mysterious Book is phenomenal. It is a great experience for single players, and if you want to go through a world where you're kind of platforming, but also kind of being like an archaeologist, like you're not digging stuff up, but you are kind of figuring out all the environment around you, and you're putting it in this book. You go inside this magic book and you're trying to figure out what these creatures are. You interact with the creatures and you interact with the environment itself, and by using those creatures to get where you need to go, or just learning more about how their abilities work, you can use those abilities to then progress through the level. Go from level to level, and of course you're gonna find Bowser Jr., you're gonna find some shenanigans there as well. It's just a very heartwarming experience that I think is also worth it on sale. And I didn't mention this for the other games, but these games are $10 cheaper for digital versions, except for Mario Tennis, unfortunately. All the other first-party games I said have cheaper versions for $10 less. I know we're in a big physical time with all this war with Sony right now, and I highly recommend buying physical, but if you're worried about the price, Nintendo is finally coming around to more cheaper options for their best cream of the crop games. Earlier this year, this was for the Switch 1 as well, but for the Switch 2, you can also play these games, Tomodachi Life and Rhythm Heaven Groove. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on these. They're both very fun in their own right. Tomodachi Life is kind of like a life simulator where you can have all of your different Miis. You can put all of your friends in there, or celebrities, or whoever you want, and you basically watch them get up to wacky stuff. It's as fun as you make it. If you are a creative person and you are very interested in forming and crafting this world in terms of the characters, in terms of who you want on your island, this game will be so fun for you. You really get out of it what you put into it. Then Rhythm Heaven Groove wasn't my cup of tea personally, but if you love Rhythm Heaven games, or just any kind of rhythm game experience, this is back in a pure form. This is one of the best Rhythm Heaven games that they have put out, and the first one that they've put out in a long time. Now, we've talked a lot about games. I want to talk a few more about some of the heavy hitters from last year that you cannot forget. If you're buying a Switch 2 right now, you are going to get a very, very good deal before September. So if you're watching this in the month of August, you have 1 month before this deal goes away. If you want to get a Switch 2, go find a Pick Your Game bundle. Just type in Switch 2, Pick Your Game bundle. You will be able to get a Switch 2, and Pokemon Pocopia you can pick. Pokemon Pocopia, which I already talked about, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and Mario Kart World. You can pick between those three. The best value for you will be Mario Kart World, because that game is $80 physically, $80 digitally. So if you want to get the best bang for your buck, a $500 console that is going to be $500 by itself very soon, it's going up in price in September, you will be able to get $500 console for an $80 Mario Kart for free. Mario Kart World is incredible. I don't care what the haters say. I don't care what people have to say in terms of A Deluxe and everything. This game is pure fun. Mario Kart is a multiplayer experience first and foremost. Everyone knows that. If you want to play with your friends, you're going to have just as much fun with this game as you would any other Mario Kart game. If you want to play online, you're going to have so much fun online. If you want to play a new mode that has me addicted right now, Knockout Tour. You go from stage to stage, you play on the roads in between. Every time you get to a new stage, 4 players are eliminated. This game has 24 overall players rather than just 12, so you're going from stage to stage to stage, and every time you get close to the end, you can feel your heart tighten, you can feel everything just rise up in you, and you just get so excited and you hope you don't lose. It is a thrilling experience. Mario Kart World will have even more content to come. They already updated this game with 2 more Knockout Tours. They're going to give us 6 more in the future, and I would be flabbergasted if this game does not get DLC in a more substantial way, if we don't get more characters and carts and even stages. It's very, very rare that you are going to be able to get a game and a console for as cheap as it will be for now. Right now, $500 to get one of these games is a steal. Then, of course, Donkey Kong Bonanza. If you don't know, this is the game for single players that want something similar to 3D Mario. Sure, there is no Mario in this game, not even a hint of him, But Donkey Kong is going to give you a 3D platforming / beat 'em up experience that you'll never forget. There honestly isn't a ton of platforming to be done in this game that's going to match up to 3D Mario. In this game, you play as Donkey Kong with massive fists because he's a big ape. And the whole thing is destruction. You can destroy all of the ground around you, and you're going to be punching your enemies all the way up to the bottom, all the way down to the core of this planet, where if you are a Donkey Kong fan, I won't spoil it because I already learned my lesson, you will find a character down there, a villain down there, that will just knock your socks off. The story is so heartwarming. It is the second highest rated game in terms of a user score on the Nintendo Switch 2, 8.9 on Metacritic. This game has phenomenal soundtrack. It's not as good as it would be if it was a 3D Mario game, that's for sure, but it's still really good. And if you're not interested in a Star Fox remake or a Splatoon Raiders game, if you want something more standard to what Nintendo has been known for their first party bangers, Donkey Kong Bonanza is probably the best you're gonna get compared to those bigger franchises. There are other more niche titles that I could recommend to you. Kirby Air Riders is basically a Mario Kart on steroids with Kirby. It's back from the GameCube era and it has GameCube DNA all over it. It's so funky. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. If you're a massive Zelda fan, this is a can't miss for you to learn more about Tears of the Kingdom's world. It's a canonical telling of what happened back in the past with Zelda. We get full information. We get to learn more about those sages of old. It's just an amazing experience and a really, really addicting gameplay loop. And of course, there are games like Drag X Drive and Switch 2 Welcome Tour that I personally wouldn't recommend to most people, but if a wheelchair basketball game with mouse controls looks fun to you, it's only 20 bucks. If something like a Switch 2 Welcome Tour for 10 bucks looks fun to you to learn more about the console and learn more about how it works, hey, go for it. And even if you have a PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, PC, third-party games are humming on the Switch 2. I mean, the last Direct was phenomenal for third-party fans. Kingdom Hearts 4 is on the way to this console. Elden Ring is on the way to this console. We already have Resident Evil Requiem, Pragmata. We have some of the best third-party games from this year, even more to come. I'd be shocked if Persona 4 Golden didn't end up on the Switch 2 because Persona 3 Reload is already here. And indies are as great as ever. They are as good as ever. Hollow Knight Silksong, oh my gosh. Here, let me show you this little Hornet figure that I bought. She's so cute. This game is amazing. I mean, even if you only want Hollow Knight Silksong, this console on the go, you're gonna get so much value to be able to play this anywhere, anytime. And I even said that I wasn't gonna talk about the future, but guess what's coming? Millennials, guess what's coming? Ocarina of freaking Time is getting a remake for the Nintendo Switch 2, and I'm sure within the coming month or two, we will see even more footage on this game, and that will be a massive reason to buy this console. Fire Emblem is coming very, very soon, and guess what? 3D Mario, Smash Brothers, Zelda, Animal Crossing, all of these franchises that have not gotten new games, they're gonna get new games. Never buy a console, or anything for that matter, on a promise. But I promise you, if you already want this console, you will love it even more when all these big things come. If you already love these games and they already intrigue you, buy one now before it gets more expensive and you have to shell out even more cash when you could have listened to Red. If you're someone who works a lot but you have a lot of breaks or you have lunch breaks that you want something more productive to do with your time rather than just scrolling on your phone, games may not feel more productive, but guess what? They're more stimulating for your brain. Bring along a Switch 2. If you're in school right now, whether college or middle school or high school, and you have all this free time in between classes or during lunch or just any time, bring Switch 2s. Have fun with your friends or just play by yourself. If you're getting older and you don't have much to do, a Switch 2 is the way to go. If you want a full, well-rounded experience in terms of amazing first-party output, third-party output that'll knock your socks off, indie games, functionality with the hardware, Switch 2 is the way to go. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope if you want to Switch 2, you will get one because it is so great and it has genuinely continued to change my life just as the Nintendo Switch. So make sure you like and subscribe if you did enjoy today's video. Click on that notification bell so you never miss an upload, and consider joining my membership program, a few bucks a month, just to get early access to some of my videos and be able to help support me financially and the channel overall. Well, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you click on the left side of your screen. You're going to see all of the reasons why Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is so special to me and why that Switch 2 edition has got to be in your hands by the end of this week. And click on the right side of your screen to see my Star Fox review. I go way more in depth on why this game is so special. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. I hope you have yourself a phenomenal day. This has been Ray's Nintendo Talk. I have been Ray, and I'll see you all in the next